Pete Sampson with Tim Priester and Tim O'Malley atop a now dark Notre Dame stadium following Notre Dame's 49-14 complete demolition of USC. And I mean, some of the things I felt like might be coming, like a strong run game, Brandon Wimbush playing to his strengths, the defense being kind of fundamentally sound, but not that. I mean, not 49-14.
Yeah. You know, as dominant as any Notre Dame fan could have hoped for today, 377 yards rushing. The number that keeps jumping out at me is holding USC to 76 yards rushing on 31 attempts, including just 12 of 32 for Ronald Jones. I mean, I thought this might be a game. We all talked about Notre Dame's offensive line being able to, in a good position to have its way with their defensive line. But, you know, I thought USC's offensive line came together pretty well against Utah, and they got Udoka back in the starting lineup, and they were, you know, in a position to put some real pressure on Notre Dame with the run game. But everything Notre Dame does these days is pretty darn good, including Brandon Wimbush back in the red zone. I believe he's now 24 or 26, or Notre Dame's offense is 24 or 26 in touchdowns when Brandon Wimbush is the quarterback in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, for Notre Dame to have this complete a performance, I thought it was interesting that Brian Kelly led off with Kevin Stefferson and Khalid Kareem. Khalid Kareem actually got the game ball. So you think of the last two games, your fourth string running back and your fourth or fifth best defensive end are the guys that are really having breakout, impressive performances.
Well, I think Kelly sees it as that's what this team is about, that they've built depth in the offseason. They had the depth, it just wasn't developed. They've certainly developed the depth. We asked Dalen Hayes, could you imagine the turnaround from last time against USC? He said, yeah, I imagine the turnaround. It wasn't talent. We just needed help. He mentioned Matt Balis immediately. You know, I wanted people to slow their roll a few weeks ago, and they said this is the best Notre Dame team Kelly's had and stuff like that. You're seeing a little bit of that on message boards and a few people on Twitter. This is the best Notre Dame team that Brian Kelly has had. Now, I know that the great defense they had in 2012 can win a lot of games for you because you're not going to give up any points, and really only Alabama can get you in that situation. This is a potent, powerful offense, and that's why I kind of took to Twitter at the half saying, this is over. This is completely over. There is no way USC can come back on this team because they run the ball to score. And teams that run the ball to score like this, they're just really hard to beat in college football.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of more fascinated by the bigger picture now. Brian Kelly talked about this is a team that needs to act like it's been here before. Well, very few guys on this team have been here before. You know, Mike McGlinchey is an exception. Quentin Nelson's an exception. Josh Adams, sort of. So they're going to hear a lot of really good things about where they are right now because they deserve to hear a lot of really good things about where they are right now. But with NC State coming up, going to Miami, Stanford at the end of the year, still everything is in front of this team. But if this gets bigger than what it was tonight, this is a team that's going to have to sort of mentally check itself moving forward.
Yeah, and I was a little surprised when Brian Kelly was asked about big picture and talking about the future that he admitted that he does have to make them aware of that. And I guess we're at that stage now because they're threatening to be in the top 10, and they're going to be playing a top 15, top 16 team next week in NC State. You know, my original feeling was that Notre Dame's going to beat USC, not to this extent. And then, you know, I would like NC State's chances because they have 2 weeks to prepare. I still like NC State's chances, but I don't feel about it the same way. And by the way, a vote for game ball, Tavon Coney. I mean, Tavon Coney was an absolute beast today at linebacker and on special teams. And, you know, I mean, everywhere you look, they've got 28 rushing touchdowns and they've allowed one on the season. The numbers are just off the chart, and that's why when people say, you know, or we're saying through the first 6 games, you know, are they really that good? Well, we won't know till they play these teams. But when you consistently put up numbers like that in so many different categories, obviously you're getting better, and they took a bigger step even tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about having a defense that would travel. They have an offense that will travel now, and they haven't had that in quite a while. Tim, I guess closing thoughts also, I want to get your thoughts on Kevin Stefferson tonight. Not somebody we've talked really about at all this season for something like that. That really seems to open up the offense as well.
No, I thought Stefferson, and you kind of alluded to it earlier in September, that he would be Chris Brown squared, making a couple plays downfield to help the team win a game or two. He's going to be a potent piece of the offense. It was interesting to hear Brandon Wimbush kind of talk about they still got to get him back into playing shape. He's not there, and that what he likes about Stefferson is his focus in 2 weeks of practice. It might be echoing what Brian Kelly would say, and maybe he was prepared to answer it that way, but it just seems like, you know, he didn't say, well, he's a playmaker, we need him out there. He said, I really like how Stefferson is focusing now. because he is a playmaker, and if he's focusing, he's going to be out there, and that is a huge boost to this offense.
Yeah, no question. Just a dominant performance start to finish for Notre Dame tonight. 49-14 over USC, on their way to the top 10, and certainly now in the college football playoff conversation.